President Trump hosted the President of Syria at the White House today and suspended sanctions on Syria under the Caesar Act, with some exceptions. Ahmed al-Shara is a former terrorist leader who successfully led a rebellion against longtime Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Al-Shara took power in December of last year and since then has been working to strengthen relations with the outside world. Trump was the first world leader to lift sanctions on Syria. The UN recently followed. Joining us now to discuss is Middle East expert Rabbi Abraham Cooper, former chair of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. He serves as the Associate Dean and Director of Global Social Action for the Simon Wiesenthal Center. So, Rabbi, thank you for joining us today. What do you think President Trump is hoping to come out of this meeting?
Well, I think President Trump, of course, thought of the Abraham Accords in his first term and sees the possibility of the movement with Syria to jumpstart, if you will, Chapter 2. Specifically, though, in terms of Syria, I had a chance to meet with this new president a few weeks after he took over power, together with my colleague and friend, Reverend Johnny Moore, in Damascus. And I think the President of the United States was asking over these months the same questions we posed to the President and the Foreign Minister. How do we know you can deliver? And how do we know we can trust you? Well, when you're President of the United States and you have that kind of leverage, which is to take off the sanctions that would enable Syria to try to recover from Assad the father and Assad the son and the years of civil war, it's a very dynamic and gutsy decision by the president, which I think is going to show, and I hope for the people of Syria, it's going to bear fruit. And obviously, in addition to what will happen domestically, because Syria's history of being belligerent vis-a-vis the state of Israel, obviously that's going to be a very important question. And right at the nexus of all of this are the fears that we heard about when we were in Damascus of Christians, obviously also of the Druze and other minorities, still not sure where this new president who comes with a terrorist background, where is he actually taking the country? So there are major questions, but today with the meeting in the White House, the signal, I think, from President Trump is that there's going to be significant movement in the right direction in terms of the issues that individuals and groups like us have raised.
So can we explore that issue of where he's taking the country, as you mentioned, because I understand you've met the Syrian president. What was your impression of him? And maybe you can discuss his vision, in your view, for Syria and the Middle East.
Well, yeah, I mean, probably the last place in the world I thought I'd ever land up would be Damascus. I grew up in New York with the children of Syrian Jews who fled Assad Sr. So I'm very familiar with the subculture. And during the 2-hour meeting with the president, the new president, I think the key issue that we wanted to hear about was what about the protection and the rights of groups like the Druze and the Christian minorities, some of whose leaders we met with separately for a number of hours. Everybody sort of holding their breath about whether or not they will ultimately be better off under this new regime. The president also took pains, I think it took about 40 minutes when it came to relations with Israel. A couple of things that he said, and I'm not sure that it necessarily changed, but perhaps it's moved forward. Said, number one, Israel is not the enemy of Syria, and Syria is no longer an enemy of Israel. Number two, whatever is going to happen will have to happen incrementally. That means serious discussions and negotiations between the two parties. That's been going on now for a couple of months. And back then, basically towards the beginning of his tenure, he said the idea of joining the Abraham Accords was premature. And I think the Israelis also had very profound concerns. And I know that NTD has reported on terrible violence against the Druze minority and others in Syria. And the question is this a leader who can bring all of the factions together to live in peace with each other and set a situation where it can restore its economy and give hope to the future for all of the various divergent groups that currently make up Syria after those horrific years of civil war, of mass murder by Assad Jr.? There is great hope and there's great fear. But I think for today, the message from the President of the United States is I've decided to take off these sanctions to give Syria's leaders a chance to bring its country into the 21st century and into a situation where it can be at peace with its neighbors. And we hope, on the other hand, in order to be able to get to that plateau and climb that mountain, to get more and more signals from this regime that they are interested in peace with their neighbors and they're committed to showing respect, safety for all of the various groups that constitute the population of Syria.
Okay, Rabbi, we just have about 30 seconds. If you could answer within that time, this last question here. Al-Shara has said he's not willing to join the Abraham Accords. Would Israel be willing to work with Syria on it if that changed?
I think the answer is actually both sides agree it's too early to talk about the Abraham Accords. But if the negotiations go well and they stop shooting at each other and the minorities in Syria that currently are being protected really by Israel feel safer and don't feel they're going to be attacked and be murdered again, then I think down the road it could very well happen. I think a lot of people in Israel will be excited about it. But right now, the biggest concern is to make sure that Syria doesn't again become a opportunity for the Iranians, Hezbollah, and others to use it as a staging ground for attacks against the Jewish state.
Well, Rabbi, we'll be keeping a close eye on the situation and reporting it for our viewers. Thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Always good to see you. Thanks for having me.